called the R9X. Instead of just exploding, the missile shreds its targets using blades after it is deployed. Shame! On November 9th, 2023, Israel used this missile to target, mutilate, and murder multiple journalists near Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza. Shame! Shame! Israel's access to weaponry is the engine of the genocidal Zionist project. Shame! So if we disrupt the flow of weapons to Israel, we cut off the means through which Israel has created the conditions of material deprivation, repression, and routine slaughter that the Palestinian people live under. While a ceasefire went into effect last month, it has not stopped Israel's genocidal aggression. Israeli forces have killed at least 345 Palestinians in Gaza since the so-called ceasefire went into effect. Shame! Shame! Therefore, a permanent, two-way, people's arms embargo is the surest way to prevent Israel from obtaining the foreign weapons it relies on to continue its aggression against the people of Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Iran, Iraq, and beyond. As an extension of the People's Arms Embargo for Palestine campaign, the VRS No Pensions for Genocide campaign is a coalition of Virginia residents, workers, and organizations mobilizing to demand that the Virginia retirement system divest any direct holdings in the weapons manufacturers and shipping companies that are facilitating the genocide of the Palestinian people. From Palestine to Virginia, the VRS No Pensions for Genocide campaign believes all people deserve to live a full, dignified life, and the forces robbing Palestinians of their lives and freedom are able to do so by robbing the people of Virginia of theirs. We demand that the VRS divest all direct holdings in weapons manufacturers and logistics companies implicated in facilitating the genocide of the Palestinian people. And we also demand that the VRS revise its investment policy to ensure it does not invest in companies that manufacture or ship weapons or weapons components. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river. From the sea to the river. Palestine will live forever. Palestine will live forever. Boycott, sanction, and divest. Boycott, sanction, and divest. Stop the bombs and fighter jets. Stop the bombs and fighter jets. Boycott, sanction, and divest. Boycott, sanction, and divest. Stop the bombs and fighter jets. Stop the bombs and fighter jets. Lockheed Martin makes the bombs. Lockheed Martin makes the bombs. Killing children and their moms. Killing children and their moms. Lockheed Martin makes the bombs. Lockheed Martin makes the bombs. Killing children and their moms. Killing children and their moms. Israel bombs, Lockheed delivers. Israel bombs, Lockheed delivers. Quit your jobs, baby killers. Quit your jobs, baby killers. Israel bombs, Lockheed delivers. Israel bombs, Lockheed delivers. Quit your jobs, baby killers. Quit your jobs, baby killers. Lockheed Martin, you can't hide. Lockheed Martin, you can't hide. You profit from genocide. You profit from genocide. Lockheed Martin, you can't hide. Lockheed Martin, you can't hide. You profit from genocide. You profit from genocide. When I say Lockheed Martin, you say genocide. Lockheed Martin, 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 genocide. What does Lockheed Martin stand for? Genocide. What does Lockheed Martin stand for? Genocide. What does Lockheed Martin stand for? Genocide. Resistance is justified. Resistance is justified. Lockheed genocide.
Lockheed Arms genocide.
Resistance is justified.
Resistance is justified.
Lockheed Arms genocide.
Lockheed Arms genocide.
Boycott, sanction, and divest.
Boycott, sanction, and divest.
Stop the bombs and fighter jets.
Stop the bombs and fighter jets.
Boycott, sanction, and divest.
Boycott, sanction, and divest.
Stop the bombs and fighter jets.
Stop the bombs and fighter jets.
Boycott, sanction, and divest.
Boycott, sanction, and divest.
Stop the bombs and fighter jets.
Stop the bombs and fighter jets.
All right, I would like everyone to welcome our first speaker from the Black Alliance for Peace.
Peace, everybody, peace. My name is Jacqueline Lukman. I am an organizer with the Black Alliance for Peace. And you know, this is a tough spot. This is a tough time for all of us, for this country, for our brothers and sisters in Palestine, for our brothers and sisters around the world who have been doing a lot more than many of us in this country have been doing to put an end to this hell on earth that companies like Lockheed Martin, in collaboration with this imperialist, bloodthirsty government, have done and are doing to the people in Gaza. And that's okay. I know there was nothing to cheer at, but look, let's be real here. Let's be serious here. It is difficult to maintain revolutionary optimism when things look like they are not going our way. It is difficult to remain committed when it looks like we are losing. It is difficult to remain enthusiastic when it looks like everything we do is being ignored, being dismissed, we're being mocked. Can I tell y'all that you're going to have to suck that shit up? Yeah, it's discouraging. Just a few years ago, we were in Washington, D.C. with tens of thousands of people when the genocide, well, this iteration of the genocide began. And it seemed like we had momentum. It seemed like something would change. But here we are 2 years later, and the genocide persists despite an alleged ceasefire, despite all of the support around the world with people in the millions in the streets in other countries demanding that their governments protect human life and dignity in Gaza. And let me explain to you why little has changed as far as the genocide. It's because the United States government is the fascist big brother of Israel, and the United Nations is the bitch of the United States. We need to get down to brass tacks here, ladies and gentlemen, because what we are facing is a protracted struggle. This is not something that we can just do as a hobby on the weekends. You all know this. I've seen so many of you at these protests so many times before. You understand that this is not something we do for fun. You understand that all of us would rather be the hell at home, warm, in our beds, watching TV, drinking coffee and tea, petting our dogs, or doing other things with our partners. But here we are. Why? Why do we persist in the face of odds that seem insurmountable and unmovable? Let me tell you why. Because my mother integrated her high school. I grew up in a very small town, 90 miles south of Richmond, Virginia, the freaking South, way below the Mason-Dixon line. The Klan started and ran my hometown for decades. The schools were segregated. I wasn't even thought of then. My mother said, this is wrong. Our schools don't get the funding, the materials that the white schools do. The Supreme Court just said this is illegal. All right, something needs to be done. And it didn't matter to my mother that she was poor. It didn't matter that the police weren't going to protect my family. It did not matter that the white parents threatened our families with death if these kids went to their white kids' school. Didn't matter to my mama. She was crazy enough to believe that whatever little act she could do would change things. She didn't think it was going to change things overnight. My mother was not thinking about, I am going to set precedent for this little town and this school. No, my mom had one thought. When I have children, I don't want my children to have to face this shit. That was her thought. That was literally what she said to me when I asked her why she did what she did. To her, it was that simple. It was right and wrong. It was justice or injustice. It was the next generation will not fight this fight if I do something right now. I don't know what's going to happen with this something I do. I'm putting myself in danger. They assaulted my mother almost every day to the point that she never talked to me about what they actually did to her. She was traumatized for the rest of her life. But she did it for a child that she wasn't even thinking about having. So I understand how difficult it is to keep doing this. I get it. But we have to remember, the civil rights movement didn't win anything overnight. The Montgomery bus boycott lasted 384 days. They didn't decide. They did not decide to stop riding the buses in Montgomery one week and then segregation on the public transportation system was fixed the next week. No, it took more than a year. And it took more than a year of serious organizing, commitment to organizing, people walking when they were exhausted, people offering their personal cars for rides for people to get to and from, grocery stores, organizing with the organizers of the March to Help People, churches also involved in the organizing, more than a year. And then the success they won only applied to Montgomery until the organization had to be pushed farther to get it applied to the rest of the country. Every civil rights law that was won took actions like this to popularize the message, to get people to understand what was at stake, and to move the movement forward. Change in society, particularly in a capitalist, imperialist, white supremacist, settler colonial society like the United States, does not happen overnight. They built this mess over 400 years. We are not going to change this thing in two. That is just the truth. But here is what we are doing. We are building a resistance. We are building a movement. We are building the example of the society we want on the other side of this. And there will be another side of this. I know it is discouraging, and I am never ever going to stand in front of anybody and lie and say that it's not. Because it is. Every battle is. There are ups and downs. There are highs and lows. But this is a day of solidarity with the Palestinian people. And I got to tell you, I don't like that word solidarity. Because I'm not in solidarity with my damn family. Do you understand? I am not in solidarity with my brothers and sisters. We are family. I will fight for you because we are family. Period. So listen, this is isn't 10,000 people out here, so what? There are people in that office working right now. I know people are like, oh, it's Saturday. Why are they out here? Y'all ain't never worked for a contractor in D.C., have you? These people work every day. They are in there, maybe not everybody, but they're in there working on their contracts and their requirements and their specifications for all of their weapons. And they hear us. They hear us calling them baby killers. And when they go home at night, they're going to be pissed. So we should keep calling them baby killers. They will go home and tell their families how pissed off we made them. They will go and tell their church members how pissed off we made them. They will go and tell their neighbors how we had the gall to come out here on a Saturday and interrupt their quiet work day, so we should do it again. And we should do it as many days as we can and at as many offices of weapons dealers as we can. Because let me explain to you what happens when these little actions are carried out with consistency. In the United Kingdom, an organization called Palestine Action targeted one Elbit Systems office in Bristol with continuous, endless protests until they finally got that office to close down. Listen, I understand this thing needs to end today. We want to be the ones to end it today. I get that. Yes, the death needs to stop. But we also must be practical, realistic, and that helps us to stay committed. What we must do is to continue what we are doing. Build a movement. Do outreach. Talk to people. Explain to them why it's a genocide. Explain to them why it's Palestinian land, because they were there first. That's the explanation. There you go. And explain to them why you are taking your personal time on a Saturday to come and talk to people on the street about saving human lives and guaranteeing human dignity. Because it is the right thing to do. Period. That's it. That's the reason. And it is incredibly important to do that here. Because our job as residents of the belly of the beast is to destroy this thing from the inside. And we cannot do it by standing on the sidelines saying, well, that's not going to work. That's not going to do anything. Yeah, this action right here will not stop the genocide. But when you do outreach later, and you talk to the 35 to 40 to 50 people that you will talk to, you will change some of their perspectives. And they will spread that message. And the movement will grow. And things will change. Change doesn't happen overnight. Not in any revolution, and certainly not inside the beating heart of the imperialist beast. But just because change doesn't happen overnight, it doesn't mean that we don't do every single thing in our power to affect that change, to be a part of that change, to move that change along. That is what we are doing. This is what every revolutionary organization and person has ever done to make any change in any society. No change can ever be made if everyone sits on the sidelines and says, that's not going to do anything. That's not going to make any difference. Yes, it will. It absolutely will. How else do you think we found each other? How did you get connected to the organizations you are in? You heard it from somebody. Somebody gave you some information and said, hey, these people are doing some stuff for Palestine. And that's how you got involved. How do you think we're going to get everybody else involved? And we're not going to get everybody, we will get the people we need to fight the battle that needs to be fought. I will end with this, and I know this was not a rousing, enthusiastic, spirit-lifting message, but sometimes revolutionaries don't need our spirits to be lifted. Sometimes we just need our tank filled so that we can keep going. So hopefully this will help. We are not just fighting imperialism, we are also fighting Zionism. Zionism and imperialism are inextricably linked. And these folks in this building back here, they serve the interests of imperialism, capitalism, and Zionism. So what we are actually doing is engaging in a battle to smash Zionism. So there is an ideology or a thought in a lot of religious circles and some mystical circles where if you repeat something 7 times, it becomes integrated into your psyche. So when you are canvassing later on, when you go home, you're debriefing this action, when you're planning the next action, when you're thinking about going to the next action, I want you to say to yourself these words. And I need you to repeat after me. Smash Zionism. Smash Zionism. Smash Zionism.
Smash Zionism!
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 We must smash Zionism to free Palestine and to free ourselves. And we believe this with absolute certainty in the Black Alliance for Peace. So we say no compromise, no retreat. I am Jackie Luqman. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie, for grounding us in our purpose out here today, reminding us that this is a protracted struggle, that we must fight on every front, and that we will ultimately win, because the power to defeat Zionism and imperialism is concentrated in us. To speak to the work that is happening in our locales because of the people power we've built over the past 2 years, I'd like to welcome our next speaker from Alexandria for Palestine.
It's an honor to be here. I'm a Jewish person from Alexandria, a fellow traveler among the hundreds of thousands of Jews who say "not in my name," and who know that the main lesson of the Holocaust was never again means never again for anyone. I've been organizing with Alexandria for Palestine for the past 2 years, but my roots in organizing for justice for Palestine go back to the student movement in the 2000s. The geopolitics are the same as when I started, basically. As always, Israel is a settler colonial state that plops itself on top of Palestine, seeks a full ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian population, and then works to expand into a so-called Greater Israel that encompasses not just the West Bank and Gaza, but ultimately land from the river to the river, from the Euphrates to the Nile, and includes large chunks of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Iraq. That hasn't changed. Meanwhile, the U.S. sees Israel as a key strategic military asset, a giant U.S. military base in the Middle East that also happens to be a country. And the U.S. provides full political cover and military enablement. And as always, greedy weapons manufacturers like Lockheed Martin are delighted to accumulate vast sums of capital by selling the means of destruction, the means of violence, the means of genocide, the means of oppression to Israel. And that hasn't changed since I started organizing either, or way before then. What has changed, and what has changed dramatically, is that thanks to this movement's righteous and determined organizing, and above all thanks to the heroic struggle of the Palestinian people themselves, their resistance to ethnic cleansing and their work to achieve liberation, thanks to our collective work, we have dramatically turned the tide of public opinion here in the U.S. That's huge. That's huge. And beyond that, we've made political headway in a way that would have been completely unthinkable even just a few years ago, let alone when I started organizing. Momentum, in my view, is on our side. Some of us are exhausted, but we have to recognize this progress, and we have to let this progress energize us. Because despite the creeping fascism, we are in the most receptive political climate here in the U.S. that we have had in many decades. Lockheed Martin needs to be stopped. If we were to take a few minutes and imagine together, we could come up with many creative and many effective ways to put pressure on a company like Lockheed. But today I'll talk about just one, which is divestment. And I'll give a bit of a report about what's going on in Alexandria and in Virginia. So in Alexandria, we're waging a campaign for our city to end its contracts with war profiteers. We want Alexandria, the city, to divest its retirement plans, its composite plans, its benefit plans from companies that are profiting from oppression and war crimes, crimes against humanity, like apartheid, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. We're now closer than ever to a divestment resolution in Alexandria. It may not happen, and if it happens, it may not look exactly the way we would ideally like. But our city council is right now at the stage of deliberating on language for this resolution. So that's how far along it is and how serious it is at this point. That's the final stage before it goes on the docket to get voted on officially. So a divestment resolution in Alexandria is quite close and potentially quite imminent. This progress in Alexandria is the result of over 2 years of relentless organizing. We've shown up in force at city council public comment sessions repeatedly. We've disrupted events, including a legislative session and a ribbon cutting ceremony for the Virginia Tech so-called Innovation Campus in Potomac Yards, which is tightly linked to weapons manufacturing. We've waged letter-writing campaigns and set up local boycotts. We've hosted social events, and we've partnered in the community. We've done teach-ins at libraries and at a church. We've done many rallies, marches, and vigils. You dropped your horn. We are a staple in our local news. And so the list goes on and on. That's Alexandria, and we have momentum. In Virginia, as a state, we've created a coalition. This was not easy. There was a lot of work and a lot of people involved around Virginia, but we did it. We've created a coalition of residents, workers, and organizations to demand that the Virginia retirement system divest any direct holdings in the weapons manufacturers and shipping companies that are facilitating the genocide of the Palestinian people. These companies include Boeing, RTX, Maersk, and of course, Lockheed Martin. If you live or work in Alexandria and you haven't joined Alexandria for Palestine, you and I should talk after this speech. But if you're from anywhere in Virginia, please go to vrsdivest.org and flyer your local community, as we're going to be doing after this rally. and join in to help us move forward with the campaign. Please let our progress in Alexandria and Virginia energize you and inspire you. Please allow the profound shift in public opinion to invigorate you. In this new climate, the answer is the same as always. Organize, organize, organize. Thank you, and free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Boycott, sanctions, and divest! Boycott, sanctions, and divest! Stop the bombs and fighter jets! Stop the bombs and fighter jets! From the DMV to Philistine! From the DMV to Philistine! Stop the U.S. war machine! Stop the U.S. war machine! Brick by brick, wall by wall! Brick by brick, wall by wall! Lockheed will fall! Lockheed will fall! Brick by brick, wall by wall! Brick by brick, wall by wall! Lockheed Martin will fall! Lockheed Martin will fall! We will honor all our martyrs! We will honor all our martyrs! All our parents, mothers, and fathers! All our parents, mothers, and fathers! We will honor all our martyrs! We will honor all our martyrs! All our children, sons, and daughters! All our children, sons, and daughters! Martyr rising from the rubble! Martyr rising from the rubble! We will carry on your struggle! We will carry on your struggle! Brick by brick, wall by wall! Brick by brick, wall by wall! Lockheed Martin will fall! Lockheed Martin will fall! Stop the killing, stop the crime! Stop the killing, stop the crime! Israel out of Palestine! Israel out of Palestine! It is our right to rebel! It is our right to rebel! Lockheed Martin, go to hell! Lockheed Martin, go to hell!
It is our right to rebel.
It is our right to rebel!
Lockheed Martin, go to hell.
Lockheed Martin, go to hell!
Weapons manufacturers, go to hell.
Weapons manufacturers, go to hell!
Make some noise. I'd like to welcome our next speaker from Anak Bayan.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are we today? It's cold out here, huh? But yeah, thank you, everyone, for coming out here today. You know, we stand in solidarity with Palestine. I'm here today representing Anak Bayan, Montgomery County. We're an organized